Bioshock is a franchise, guys, that is very unique, and it's a incredibly creative series. I actually think, guys, it's one of the most creative types of storylines that we've seen in all of gaming. It's just very out there. And each game is distinct, right? You're kind of, you're in the water, underwater cities, and then you've got, of course, you go up into the clouds, and in Bioshock Infinite, you've got, of course, these cities in the clouds, and it's very interesting how all of this and the Bioshock universe has been created now, and there's a lot of question marks now moving into Bioshock 4. And so what I want to talk about in this segment of the show is everything that we want in Bioshock 4. And when I say we, guys, I'm talking mainly about myself here because I'm the only one giving my opinion. I'm sure some of you are going to share similar opinions, but for those of you who don't, let me know what you guys want to see in Bioshock 4. So let's get into it. So, guys, I think Bioshock, this is a franchise, like I said, that's had a lot of twists, a lot of turns, and all in all, sometimes I don't like the gameplay as much, or even really sometimes the mechanics of the game and how it, all the different functions and things of that nature within Bioshock. However, I respect the story in a major way. I think that this is a very well put together storyline, and I play it just to kind of see where they're trying to go with it. And I love how, Bioshock Infinite ended. I thought it was the best ending out of all three of the Bioshock games up to this point. And I think one of the biggest things for me was the surprises there, like the mystery that was there. And so I think that is something really that I want in Bioshock 4 is more mystery, more like, more doors to open, so to speak, more just worlds to explore essentially within this universe. I think that's the first thing. I mean, and what that really gets back to is I just want more Bioshock at the end of the day, guys. I think that many of us who really enjoy this series in one capacity or another really wants, like, kind of similar things, but we just want them to continue moving in a direction of where they're kind of going. And it's hard to say where it's going, right? There's a lot of mystery there, but that's what makes it so exciting in this series in particular. Now, with Ken Levine and that team no longer working on Bioshock, that leads to some concern, obviously, moving forward. However, I'm going to give the new developers the benefit of the doubt. I mean, we've seen what happens, guys, with many games out there, right? You look at games like, let's just talk Gears of War here. You got Gears of War, you had the first 3 games come out, the trilogy, and then, of course, Gears of War Judgment was kind of a downfall, but the core trilogy was incredible. Then you had Gears of War Judgment. And then, of course, the Coalition took over from Epic Games, who made the first games. And then, of course, they started off with the Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which was kind of like a remaster of the other, the games that had come before it. And then, of course, we had Gears of War 4 that came out. And that was their first real dive into it. And there was things that were right, there were things that were wrong. And then there were things, of course, the Coalition could do different moving forward. And then I felt like they really kind of started making more progress as they got to Gears 5. But sometimes for a new studio taking over a franchise that's as big as like Gears of War, Bioshock, Halo, things of that nature, I think you got to give them time. Because even with Halo, guys, with 343 Industries taking over from Bungie, there's some growing pains there. They're trying to figure it out, that being 343 Industries. And now we'll see with Halo Infinite how that looks. So I think we got to give it time. So, obviously that's just something kind of a side note here with Bioshock 4, that the new developers, just know that they're going to do their best to try to make this as good of a continuation of the original games. So the next thing that I really want, guys, going outside of the story, right? I mean, I think the last thing with the story would be the characters, right? Having new characters introduced, having some of the old characters coming back or back into the fray, I think would be really interesting. But outside of the story, I think what is really important is having multiplayer experiences and co-op experiences. It continues to build the franchise. I think it brings people back to the game over and over again. We talk about this about many franchises out there, right? And so I think it's really important that they were able to, as players, we can come back after the story's done. We can play with our friends. We can talk to our friends about it, play co-op modes, whether those are, co-op missions or play the campaign cooperatively. playing together in a multiplayer space, having, you know, multiplayer modes, I think is going to be really important as well moving into Bioshock 4. Simply because, guys, especially with the next generation of consoles and all of that, I think it's going to be, I think Bioshock 4 could be primed for something like that, where you're getting a full package deal, and it's going to have to compete with these other games that are out there. And I think that's something else that you really are going to have to kind of look at moving forward here. The next thing, guys, and this might be a controversial one, and I've said this on a number of occasions for many games out there, and Bioshock's no different to me, is I would love to see Bioshock 4 free to play. And here's why. I look at the landscape of gaming, guys, and you look at all these AAA games that are coming out, and they're free to play, and look at how big the fan bases are. If you get on Twitch, just for example, to see how many people are viewing Bioshock, it's not very many. What I'm getting at here is that a free-to-play Bioshock game, if they had, like, you know, customizable items and things of that nature within the multiplayer and the co-op modes, even in the story mode, it would be justified for people to go in there and start, you know, buying things, like, you know, ways in which the developers can make money outside of just a, you know, a $60 price for a copy of the game. Most likely, guys, they aren't going to do this, but I would like to see it, just because I think it would help Bioshock as a franchise continue its growth. The growth of the franchise and building the fan base, having more people streaming the game, more people making content around the game. I think those things would really help with a free-to-play game, because a lot of people out there would just think, hey, you know what, I'm just going to try it out. I wasn't planning on buying it. I've never played Bioshock in the past, but it's free-to-play. Let's try it out and see what's up with it. And just by doing that, it's going to help the franchise continue growth. And people who have never played Bioshock in the past, they're trying it out. So those are kind of my big things, guys, as far as what I want to see out of Bioshock 4. What do you guys want to see? What are the biggest things that you guys want to see changed or, you know, stayed the same in Bioshock 4? Let me know in the comment section below. And for more Bioshock 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.